What's up guys, Chasing Lamy here with episode number 40 of our Williams Revival on F1 Manager 22. We are in Season 3 still, just about to go into Round 6 at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And if you missed the last race, go check that out. It was a massive disaster on both fronts really, but I made a mistake. One of the drivers made a mistake. It all went horribly wrong. Anyway, as things stand, we currently sit third in the Constructors' Championship. We are 24 points behind Ferrari. A 1-2 is worth 18 points. And we can put up at 12 points on that deficit. So we can still get ourselves back into the fight. It's not fully out of the way yet. In the Drivers' Championship, we are 5th and 7th. And it's going to take a lot to make up ground. A Valtteri Bottas win would put him right in the title hunt. A Lewis win would put him right above Valtteri Bottas. It's quite a complicated one, and I think in today's race we're going to have to see Valtteri taking a grid penalty. Anyway, as things go, of course we're going to the Barcelona Grand Prix. We're going to have a look at the car so we know where we're at. I know I've got some new parts coming in shortly. I think it was this race coming in for, if not Monaco, which is not the best time for upgrades, but such is life. In terms of the car, we are low and medium speed corners. We're in the top 10, probably aiming for about 7th this weekend, I would think, would be a good gamble for us. And that's probably what we'll set our sights on. So we'll look just to make sure we've not got any parts coming before this race. We actually do have some parts in before this race. We could be further up. We'll see how that goes. Let's carry on forward and we'll deal with those parts as they come in, because that's going to be important. In fact, I do remember we had a new part last race. And did I start development on the replacement for that? I did. I don't remember what I started on. It was a chassis rebuild last time, wasn't it? Some rebuild last time? I don't remember. Let's have a little look. It wasn't a rear wing. It wasn't a side pods, I don't think. So, underfloor or suspension? Where did we go with that last one? Underfloor we've got plenty. It must have been suspension. Always the last place you look. It's just like your keys. I don't even know where we've done that. Oh, it could be the front wing. We are probably just manufacturing front wings, I remember. That's okay. We'll get there together. Let's carry on forward. We'll reassess the car when we get to the to just before the Grand Prix weekend begins. We'll carry on forward because I am going to get more designs in just before the race. I'm going to have to rush them and spend some money, but that is going to be absolutely fine. We'll get them on the car as fast as we can. Hopefully all the big upgrades are coming through for Barcelona. Underfloor is now in the bag. That's beautiful. Let's go and get some of that. Who's our up-and-coming driver? Théo Pourchaire. We know all about Théo Pourchaire. He's driven for us before. Keep up. 4 days to the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm going to emergency 2 of them. And then I'm going to rush a few more. I think is going to be my big thing here, because that's going to keep the world going round. Let's do manufacturing on rushed. Actually, I suppose normal, bringing a spare in time for the Grand Prix. That should be fine. Let's actually, no, I'm talking myself out of it. Rush it, so we have it. That's good, and we'll put those on the car, because that is going to be invaluable. If we can get that on the car, we should push our way up the grid a little bit. Up into 10th and 3rd on car 2. That's okay. That will do us nicely. Quite frankly, we are going to be further up the grid than we thought this weekend. And of course, we can do a new build on some parts as well. So, on a part. So, we're going to have a little look and see what we can get. I think we're probably at the stage where I don't think we're going to get a front wing in time for the parts that need front wing, but we are worse on low speed corners, so I think we'll have to go for that. And I'm going to put about 1.7 of our MFD hours in, because that should work out nicely, and about 22 of our wind tunnel hours in, because again that should work out nicely. And we're going to try and focus this on some low speed downforce. I think that's going to be a big boost to us. It'll be a very big boost to us. We'll be a comfortable top 10 team if we do that. We still get to the top of the tree on medium speed corners. I suspect we can probably squeeze a little bit more performance out of our high-speed cornering if I really try. That's probably going to be fine. Let's go there. That's okay. We're fully on low-speed cornering. Brake cooling I'm actually not worried about at all. So we might just try and keep that on a level pegging and see if we can push a little bit more high-speed performance out of the car without losing anything too much. That will work for us, I think. And then we're going to bang all our engineers on that. 42 days, we could get that done. 28, we're going to rush it. I don't normally rush it. I usually do the intensive. But that feels like a good plan to go rush it a little bit. Because even if we don't get it in for Monaco, we should get it in. Have a look at the calendar. That was, what, 28 days that'll be ready? So if we go forward to June, we're looking at design for that complete. That's Azerbaijan. We don't worry about low speed cornering during Azerbaijan. Where on earth does that finish? So confused. Where does that design come in? Because that should have. I'm so lost. I'm so lost. Watch me get lost at games. That should be the name of this channel. Let's have a look and go to the current project and we'll see what that just did. The design project on the front wing was 28 days. Yeah, I'm not going crazy. 28 days is where I thought it should be. So 1, 2. That will be there. Okay, so that will come in time for Canada. Which is a pretty good time to get some low-speed downforce. If I'm honest, we should be in a good position to dominate from that point in the season onwards. You'd like to think. I know it goes into the high-speed part of the season, but trust me, we'll do well. The chassis is going to help with Azerbaijan as well, so we're okay. We're in a good position. Let's carry on forward. Let's get some of whatever design we're completing next on the car, and we will then be in a really, really strong position for the weekend. It's got to be said. We should be in a really strong position for the weekend and able to make some proper inroads into things, which is what we're all truthfully looking for. It's going to bring up whatever's happening now. It's gone a bit slow on my screen. I don't know why. There we go. Rear wing is happening and front wing manufacturing is complete. That's beautiful. So we'll get that rear wing built because, again, more power, baby. More power. That's what we want. So we are going to do that. That rear wing is going to be very tasty for us. Let's go to a 2 days on a rushed. Can you do me? Nope, you can't. Right. Let's go for 2 for now on emergency. And then I'm going to build 4 more on rushed. Because that feels like it's a good plan to have some spares, as always. So we'll go for that. Let's go rushed. And let's go for 3 more of those. We don't break them that often. I've jinxed it now. We don't normally break them that often. And that, hopefully, if I can get... We'll have a look when I get it on the car in a second. We need to do another build. And this build, I think, is going to be for... Where are we on top speed right now? We could be quicker. We could be much quicker. Let's go for a new suspension. Why not? Let's go crazy with the rest of our MFD hours and see what we can make happen, shall we? Because if we can get a bit more top speed, I think we're probably in a good position for the rest of the season. Let's go for race performance. That should boost everything into high speed. It does. Let's add a little bit more. What does airflow actually help? Does that make any difference to top speed? I don't think it does. I'm not certain. It does make a difference to top speed. Okay, then we'll do that. We'll make the big gains. Medium speed, I would like us to boost that up if we can. But actually, I think the high speed is probably what we need to focus on. So we'll do that. So okay. It's such a tough one. Let's see if there are any gains here at all, because whatever we can do to help is going to be good. we'll go there, because I think if we push it too far, we lose positions on the grid. There we go, that'll do. That'll be fine. Right, let's put five more on that one, and again, we're going to rush that because I think we can get that in time for Azerbaijan. If my head maths is head mathy accurate, we'll find out in just a moment. So let's have a little look-see-doodle at what's going on with the car with the new parts. So let's get those car parts fitted. What I've just built, it was a chassis. We already had a chassis, rear wing. The rear wing. I remember. We were all there. Right, let's put those on the car. Let's see what that says about the car performance versus the rest of it. I think it'd be good. We are first in acceleration, second in medium speed corners. Oh, so I'm going to boldly predict the podium now, I think. Boldly predicting a podium for the race is where we're at. That's a crazy turnaround from where I was thinking just now. So we are going to carry on forward. Manufacturing is going to get all completed on some things. We'll get the practice sessions underway. I'll come back after qualifying and we'll see what we're looking at for race day, where hopefully a good win is in store. So, qualifying 3 in the books. Max Verstappen takes pole, which is kind of a thing we all have come to expect from real life at this stage. Lewis in second. Valtteri Bottas 1,000th of a second behind his teammate in third, but he's taken the grid penalty, so he's going to start way down the back. But we're also both cars 3/10 of a second, 3.5 tenths of a second ahead of the Ferrari. So we have got the pace to at least be closer to Max and give Max a fight and pull away from the Ferraris, whilst Bottas should work his way through. So Sainz in fourth for Ferrari, Leclerc in fifth, Ocon in sixth, Alonso in seventh, the Noah's Ark for Ferrari and Alpine. Sergio Perez in 8th place, bit disappointing for him. I feel like I've said that a lot this year. Lando Norris sits in 9th with Pierre Gasly in 10th. George Russell in 11th. Alex Albon for McLaren in 12th. Ricciardo in 13th for Mercedes with a grid penalty. He's having a horrible year. 14th is Magnussen, 15th Vettel, 16th Stroll, 17th Schumacher, 18th Tsunoda, 19th Zhou Guanyu, and 20th is Logan Sargent. So, let's go see what Crofty and Karun have got to say.
The time has come to fight it out. It's race day.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. The work Red Bull did during qualifying was nothing short of spectacular. Now let's see if they can repeat that for today's race. And the weather is sunny here today, apart from a few clouds. Let's hope they remain scattered on the horizon.
And there are going to be some tough calls to make in Catalonia today. So let's see who makes the best ones for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Well, Crofty's not wrong. There are going to be some tough calls to make for the Spanish Grand Prix, and we're going to make them right about now, because that's what we're here for. I am just thinking, is there still a screen at this stage where I can see the likelihood of safety car? There is. Okay, so the 80% chance of a safety car and a 24-second pit lane loss. What does that mean in terms of safety car? It is a 12-second pit lane loss. Okay, that's good to know, and we have had safety cars deployed twice last year, so that's okay. Almost guaranteed our safety car, quite frankly, so I say almost guaranteed. More no deployments than not, but it's fine. We're going to factor that into our considerations as a good race team boss should. So, looking at strategy, we probably can do this on a soft, medium, softs. That's probably infinitely doable unless there is a secret source hiding somewhere. It is possible that we can do this on a medium. Definitely wanted medium for that selection. A medium to hard is what I was trying to get to. Let's faff that around so we get medium to hard as our option. Let's see how that looks, because it'd be nice to have that data in case we need it, because I just have a feeling that might have saved us a little bit of time somewhere, maybe? No, apparently not. Apparently there is no saving to be made by just one stopping here. Okay, so then it comes down to a straight choice between do we one stop or two stop and which tyres we go on. And honestly, I think there's probably an argument that we should try and extend one of these stints. Because I feel like if let's try having that as our stint basis and seeing if that can cause any issues for us, because that would be really handy if we could go kind of fullish deploy for a little while, or say fullish, well, it's not going to work out, that's fine. Okay, well then I guess we'll stick to strategy B for both drivers. That's a good enough plan for my liking, as long as Valtteri doesn't have any weird twisted ideas on how that could work. In fact, one thing I would like to try out is, because especially with Valtteri where he has got to get past some cars, and I think a lot of cars are going to start on soft, I'm going to just try and see if there is a too soft strategy in there somewhere that maybe brings it into play a little bit later, but for a lot more gain. That, and then a bit of push at the end. I don't know why that bit of push makes them slower. We're going to take that risk, I think, because yeah, it's 10 tenths, 500ths of a second slower, but if he gets some free track positions, we're actually laughing. If a safety car comes out, potentially laughing harder. So let's do that. Let's take strategy D for Valtteri, just because I do want him to take that track position. I know that's going to be quicker, but I do want him to take that track position during the pit stop phase. I think, just thinking now, what are the gaps between the two pit stops? So that is a lap 20 pit stop, that's a lap 31 pit stop. 11 laps should let him build up a fairly good gap, and then also the crossover to script. We're just going to let him do the overtaking himself. That's, after all that thinking, that's what we're going to come down to. Just going to make sure we have got the right car parts on the car, because more power is always a good idea if it can be found, and I think we've got the most of the power we'll get out of Lewis, unless that's got a cheeky couple of percent on it. It doesn't. Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Right, fuel-wise, this is going to be a fully fuel up and just kind of leather it into the first corner. That's going to be my plan. We're going to go a little bit heavy on the pace mode because we've got some tyres to play with, and we're just going to deploy with Lewis, nice and straightforward. With Valtteri, we are not going to leather it as much. We're not going to use the rubber up as much, because I want that flexibility to be able to do some undercuts or to play with a safety car, and we're going to give him overtake mode because I think he's going to need it. And I think that's pretty good. So we've got Valtteri starting 20th, we've got Lewis starting second. It should be a hell of a race. Let's go see what Kroon and Crofty have got to say this time.
I don't want to tempt fate, but there are quite a few clouds overhead as we look at the lineup on the grid. And here we've got Lewis Hamilton. They're in second place on the grid, but that could so easily change in the first few seconds of the race. And there's Bottas completing the team today. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. And we're just moments away now. One of the oldest races on the Formula One calendar. This is the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And we are underway right now then in Catalonia, and we're going to keep an eye on Lewis going into the first corner. Of course, we're going to drop down the background noise just a touch. I hope it holds out for this race. Let's see how he does into the first corner. He's on soft tyres as well. It's beautiful stuff. with Max on mediums. Let's have a look at the tyre strats. Bottas gaining a place already at the pack. We'll take a look at that off board because Lewis is about to stretch his legs. Let's see
take
what
a look at the
Bottas
replay.
has
Now we
done to
see
Logan
Valtteri
Sargent,
Bottas.
just straight into turn 1, it looks like, as one of the McLaren, has a little look down the middle. I don't know why. There is not a line there. There isn't really much of an overtake. It wasn't really worth us going to the replay. That's fine. Right, Lewis out on his own now, ready to stretch his legs. We'll keep an eye on that gap because that gap is going to become much bigger than we thought. Bottas up into 18th. Good stuff. Let's jump on board with Valtteri and follow him through because he should make some absolute waves today as Lewis disappears into the distance. You would hope for this first stint that would be the ideal. Hopefully he will just kind of vanish on Max Verstappen and be gone. In fact, I think once we get to a second DRS range, keeping an eye on the time above, I think we're going to go down to a standard and keep ourselves pushing. Valtteri Bottas has taken another place from Guan Yu Zhou, of course overtaking the Alfa Aston Martins even. It's not that big a stretch for us because they usually get lapped a couple of times. I think around here last year they got lapped twice. And Valtteri should be just picking his way through here. He should pick off Mick Schumacher quite nicely. Danny Rick will be the first real challenge to pass. And given his recent form, I won't even say that big a challenge to pass. Very much of the curb being taken there by Valtteri, possibly track limits. Don't want to say it too loudly in case the FIA hears it, but probably track limits there as Hamilton is away. Now he's gone and Verstappen is left to fight with Carlos Sainz. The second DRS happens, those guys are going to fall so far back. It's going to be slightly ridiculous, you would think, because they will keep fighting each other. Bottas goes for a look at the inside of Daniel Ricciardo and makes the move stick. And at this rate, by about lap 10, he'll be back in the top 5.
Okay, good job.
Which is what we want from him, of course, but probably not what I predicted. I thought he'd get there slowly. Didn't think he'd slice through the field like a hot knife through butter. And now he's lining up Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll, who is actually having a little look at Kevin Magnussen just to keep things interesting up ahead. That's always good. Verstappen not reeling in Lewis, which is also beneficial. I am trying to make sure we pull out a bit of a gap for Lewis, ready for a pit stop. I will come in early if I have to, but I don't want to have to. So we'll see how that goes as Bottas going for a look at the inside of Vettel. It's going to come down to who breaks last into turn 1. Does Valtteri have the confidence? He does have the confidence to go for that heavy braking. And now is on the back of K-Mag. And frankly, this has got kind of silly very quickly because now Magnussen should be an easy target next time we get a decent run down a straight. And Stroll you'd expect to follow under DRS soon after. And then we've got to get past Russell. And that's when he has to start putting the work in really to get onto the back of Alex Albon. There are a couple of gaps starting to form in the midfield. Although Bottas going for a look at the inside of K-Mag already. Beautiful stuff. DRS zone about to come out. Well, maybe we can take Stroll as long as we're not boxed in. Let's sort out the battery for Lewis. Don't know why it made me switch camera there. Apologies for dropping out of that battle.
And once again, good
job.
job.
Go off board because this is going to get very interesting very quickly as Bottas is going up the inside of Lance Stroll. Shouldn't hold on to that one through the next couple of corners. Move. Just needs to slot in ahead. Lance Stroll keeping his foot in. Outstanding drive from the Canadian, but we've got to keep this going now. Hopefully DRS open, we're going to get ourselves very happily past George Russell, you would think, because we are number 1 on the grid for DRS, so actually no excuses. Although having said that, Lance Stroll has just absolutely done us like a kipper, stitched us up and gone. Really, and that's unexpected. Valtteri Bottas really should have done better there because he does have the fastest car under DRS in a straight line by some distance. Someone else is locked up in Sector 1, not quite sure who. Probably Danny Ricciardo, looking at how that's slipped down the order. But it could easily have been Yuki Tsunoda or Guan Yu Zhou because they're both very prone to it. It was Yuki Tsunoda, there we go, that was our winner for the day. Yuki Tsunoda having the first excursion into the gravel pits, as Bottas now going to go for a look under DRS at George Russell. Should have the easy overtake here, quite frankly, because Russell is on the hards. He's pushing quite hard, and I don't know how we're not just breezing past him. Hopefully is the job done now. Let's have a little look. He's gone, he's passed, and now we've got Lance
We are
Stroll,
currently in P12.
pure sitting duck mode. Let's have a look at the interval, because once we get past Stroll, it's going to be a case of chase down Gasly as quickly as we possibly can, which Valtteri just needs to get pure qualifying laps in, quite frankly, at this point. DRS open, Lance Stroll, we say goodbye. You tried your hardest and you failed anyway, and the lesson was to never try. Valtteri Bottas up into P11, and we'll start looking now to catch up with Pierre Gasly, which we should be able to do on pure pace with no need to mess around too much, which is something we're always happy to have happen. So, let's do a little bit of double speed, just so we can, in fact, let's go even more than double speed, because we just want to catch that gap up and get ourselves back in when there's some action to follow, which it looks like there is now, as Bottas gets himself onto the back of Gasly, who is in turn on the back of Alex Albon. Hamilton is slowly disappearing into the distance on Max, which is nice. That's what we want to see. We want to be able to build a good gap. A safety car within about 5-10 laps of now at current pace would mean Hamilton came out on fresh boots and maintaining the lead, which is really what this was an exercise in the first place. As Bottas goes for a look up Gasly, DRS open. Has Valtteri got the ability to get the overspeed done? Not really. That straight's a little bit too short to really be effective for DRS. But actually, I'd expect Bottas to be able to take both these guys down the start-finish straight coming out of here, if I'm honest, because he should have way more pace with DRS open than anyone else on the track, and certainly way more pace under DRS than you would expect from an Alfa Romeo or from a McLaren. So let's see if the difference is going to be made here. Rear wing open. Come on, Valtteri. Can you get this job done? And if not, why not? You're going to get yourself boxed in because you've not realised there's a whole bunch of track to the right-hand side. There is a little bit of an issue with this game, and I'm hoping they fixed it for the new one when it comes out, where it's a little bit scale extra-y, because there seems to only be 2 lines on the track most of the time, and that start-finish straight at Barcelona is definitely a 3-wide opportunity. He definitely should have to cut up the inside and breeze past both of them, not get boxed in, as he has a little look up the inside there. I don't think we're quite at the crossover point on the tyres yet where we're going to start losing pace to Gasly, but we've done okay so far. We'll get inside the top 10 by lap 10, which is sort of what the aim was in the back of my head, and then we kind of start looking at what we do strategically to start chasing down the cars ahead. As we go on the outside looking at Pierre Gasly. Can Bottas keep his foot in? A sweeping right-hander here should give him the track position. Looks like it will do. Is he clear? He is clear. Good job. And up into the top 10 goes Valtteri Bottas. 2 laps ahead of my mental schedule. And hopefully we should open up DRS and breeze past Albon. Now there's no one blocking our way, which is going to be the main goal here. We'll have a little look, and are we going to be up, away and gone? We are, and now we start to chase down Lando Norris, hopefully unencumbered by Alex Albon. He might have the pace to just about stay in our DRS train until we get to his teammate, but I'm not entirely sure he will. And now we are up, away, fully gone. Let's go to double fast, super fast, 16 times speed mode, and just kind of see how the gaps start shaking out. We are reaching a crossover point on the tyres, I think, because Verstappen probably won't get to 8 seconds behind Lewis at this stage. I think he's probably going to find his tyres start coming in very useful very soon. And Bottas, meanwhile, really struggling to hold on to the back of Norris. He has finally got himself in the train as Norris drops off of Perez. So back to the Valtteri Bottas show we go. That's where we're at right now. The Valtteri Bottas show in P9, looking at P8 hopefully, and if he gets it done in a DRS zone, should be immediately on the back of Sergio Perez, and then it's just time to start siding through. Also, props to the Alpine team for very much joining the top 3 or 4 teams, whilst, you know, Mercedes have slipped away a great deal. They've not even really been involved in any fighting for half a season now. And, yeah, Alpine among the new leaders on the constructors' side, it looks like. I know Mercedes are up in the top 4 on the constructors' table, but just on pure pace a lot of the time, they just don't seem to have it. It's usually they've stayed ahead of Alpine purely because someone's had an accident, and the pace just isn't really there. Talking of pace, Valtteri Bottas waves goodbye to Lando Norris and now is free to chase down the second Red Bull, carry on his day, and we're looking very, very good to pick up some points here, and we're going to be heading for a pit window very soon as Verstappen starts to put up a bit more of a fight back towards Lewis. And it's going to come down to the windows now. It's going to come down to what Verstappen is thinking in terms of his pit stop. And we can probably get a good indication of that from his tyres. Bottas racks in a fastest lap. Looking at what he's doing on the mediums, I think he is going for that one stop. And we're going to find out if one stop versus 2 is the better strategy here. I think we should be alright. I think we are actually going to be a little bit faster as long as Lewis and Valtteri keep up their overtaking. I think we'll be okay, but for now it's all about Bottas versus Perez, and that's going to be the really telling one, I think, for us. Bottas versus Perez in the fight for the fastest way around the track. There is enough of a gap actually between our drivers too for a double stack, which is going to make us even more dangerous as we get towards the back end of the race, because we'll be on the same strategy, enough of a gap to really keep playing the same games and seeing how things work. As Bottas fails an overtake on Sergio Perez, we go double time, why not? We are sort of dragging into a long episode. I say dragging, I'm quite enjoying this race from the onboard, but, you know, I'm very well aware you guys have got stuff to do with your day and you don't want to be watching an hour and a half worth of racing if you can avoid it, because, you know, it's middle of the week and all that stuff. And who doesn't have work in the morning? That's always the big question. Right, Valtteri Bottas up past Perez. We're all happy. We're on to the back of Alonso now. And I think we're just kind of waiting to see how crossovers work with Lewis and Max. It's not quite, in fact, it's just come in there now. So Lewis is going to have to get a good pit stop in, a low-loss pit stop, and hopefully keep himself on target. Meanwhile, Bottas now looking at the back of Alonso, and this is where it gets a bit treacherous with the overtakes, because there isn't really enough of a gap ahead of Alonso for Bottas to comfortably slot into. So he's going to have to pick his spots here, hope some gaps open up and pick them up off one by one. He's going to have a little look regardless, apparently. DRS open, should start closing in on Alonso. Don't know if he'll make a move. Doesn't really look like he's going to make a move. He gets very close, but I think he thought better of it as he found himself in that kind of racing position to make a difference, and that's sort of how that all goes sometimes. Sometimes it do be like that. Lewis's tyres are overheating, which we don't really want, so we're going to cool them down a little bit and extend the stint and see what that does in terms of where we are strategy-wise. We're going to give him a chance just to kind of back himself up a little bit, cool his tyres down. I actually haven't looked at the tyre temps. Something's going on with the pit window about to open. That's what's happening. Let's have a look at the tyre temps, just to see where we're at with them, really, because if the tyre temps are slightly too high, I can of course bring them down and extend things a little bit. It looks like we are, in fact, running a little bit too high. Hopefully we'll bring them down. Bottas, of course, is sort of just running in dirty air, which is going to cost him a little bit. Pit window-wise, we are in an interesting situation now, because we could potentially extend this stint. The tyres are lasting probably better than I thought. Slightly better than I thought. Let's see if we can get a good kind of zoomed-in view. Maybe a little bit better than we thought, but not significantly better than we thought is what we're driving at. Are we going to get any weather at all of note? Nothing at all of note. I am tempted to switch to a hard tyre, keep track position and see if that gets us to the end, but also I don't want to lose pace, so it is going to become a real question. Bottas still having a look at Alonso, who's also on softs. We'll see how it goes with the pit window. We'll see where things start shaking up, because Verstappen's going to go probably another, 10 laps or so, and then maybe try and switch on to hards. At which point Hamilton should have jumped him in the pit stop phase already, and then it's just a case of how big a gap can Lewis build up on the next set of tyres over the slightly longer stint. Someone's locked up in sector 3. I'm not entirely sure who. Was it one of my cars? Because that's always a big question. Oh, we've got a safety car. Lewis is past the pit lane. I can't get Bottas in time. Where is the safety car? It's not on track yet. Okay, we are going to have to go for it with both cars, both barrels, because if we don't, we're going to be sitting ducks. So we're going to switch on to a set of mediums for Lewis, switch on to a set of mediums for Valtteri as well. Hopefully they won't have closed up by the time we get there. It's tough. It's really tough, because I would have liked to have got us in, but somehow they all called it exactly right. And I don't think it was that big a delay in me noticing a safety car coming out. So,
cars, I think.
Safety car, follow
now
that.
I have bigger questions, I suppose.
Here's the replay.
Let's see how things
Now just
what
take a
happened,
look at
what
the
caused
McLaren.
it. It's a McLaren. Which McLaren, I'm not entirely sure. Looks like Alex Albon.
And that's a big
Absolutely
smash. They'll have felt
punted that Alpha into the shadow realm. Pierre Gasly, the unfortunate driver. Let's start saving some fuel, because we were running a little bit low and we're probably going to need that down the line. So we'll save the fuel, and I'm going to put the tyres on conserve for a little while, because that's also a good idea. Just to get ourselves all topped up on things coming in for the pits anyway. The further we take the mediums, the better. Hopefully we're not going to lose so much time that we lose positions as a result of this, because that would be really harsh on us if that was to happen. That would be really unfair if that was the case. How is Logan Sargent a minute behind after, 19 laps? That's disgraceful. That's absolutely
We
silly.
need to get these tyres to
We
last.
are going to try get ourselves in. Bottas, hopefully,
recharge on,
Ocon and
recharge on.
Verstappen aren't coming in at this stage, because that's going to be a huge error if they don't. We'll see what happens. Hamilton will come in, and will Max follow is the question we're going to find the answer out to in about 6 seconds' time. If he does come in, probably a smart move. He's staying out. I'm sure he's staying out. He is staying out. What an error. Ocon also staying out. I'm not sure I rate either of those decisions, but, also not my decisions to make. Are we going to get out ahead of Carlos Sainz with both drivers? That's the next big question. Hamilton should easily get out ahead of him, I would think. Whether Bottas will. Touch and go. We'll see, because he hasn't even hit the pit box yet, and it looks like Sainz will make his way past, possibly Russell and Vettel. It's not a gain, it's not a big loss, but it's not a gain. Bottas coming at 6th, 7th, maybe. I'm not entirely sure how this game reacts to track position versus pit lane. Bottas out in 6th, that's absolutely fine. George Russell ahead, probably not going to help a lot. Is Russell on fresh tyres? He's on fresh-ish tyres. Okay, we're fine. We're going to sit in 3rd. We are max on those tyres. He's got to come in still within the next few laps. He may have cost himself a race, because I'd have come in for a set of hards on their strategy, and I'd have tried to extend it and put on a fresh set of softs later. I think Bottas is going to be the man to watch off the restart. We'll zoom through the collecting up the cars period, because we all know nothing happens during that period anyway. and we'll get a little notification
Overtake
once
available.
the safety car is about to come in as well. So that's fine. We've fully recharged the battery. Thanks, boys. We knew that. I can see it on telemetry. Is the safety car coming in? It is coming in. I didn't get the notification it was coming in, but it is coming. Verstappen's pitting off the back of the safety car. Absolute lunacy from the Red Bull team there. Absolutely insane stuff. I don't know why you would choose to pit in off the back of the safety car. That seems like the dumbest decision you can make in this situation. I'm not going to lie. We're going to go overtake mode with Lewis, and we're going to give Valtteri the same because we have to. We could get a 1-2 out of this quite easily, purely because Max has just followed the safety car in.
Safety car in this lap. Safety
Why?
car in
Why
this
follow
lap.
the safety car in? What did you think you were going to gain by doing that? Right, Lewis is going to go for it now. Ocon,
Safety car
I
is
can
pulling away
only
now.
assume is going to stay out because
Do we need to
otherwise
push
he's going
harder
to
on
be
tires? They are
absolutely
looking good
last.
now.
Max is about to be last and do a last to first challenge. Lewis is through and gone. We're going to tell Lewis to absolutely drain his battery and just build up whatever he has to, quite frankly,
Use and deploy when you can.
in terms of a gap. I mean, as long as he stays side by side from Ocon here, he'll be gone coming out of that corner, and that's the last Esteban Ocon saw of Lewis Hamilton for the rest of the race. It was fun for him while it lasted. Meanwhile, Valtteri through into fourth, takes Russell, will get on the back of Sainz fairly easily.
And a new
Ocon's
position,
about to drop like
just
an
gained by
absolute
Williams.
rock at this point, and we should romp off into the distance because our only competition really was Max Verstappen.
And there's an overtake
And
from Williams.
he's gone now. He's out of the race. Sainz has been overtaken by Bottas. Beautiful stuff. Ocon next up.
Okay,
and
Valtteri,
that
nice move.
should be pretty much the job done, I'd like to think. I know we're still side by side with a Ferrari. There we go. There's the side by side. But we've just got the traction. We've got the pace. We should be able to get and stay ahead once we get a DRS open. And when we
Anything
stay-
can happen.
We've gone back behind him, but I'm
You
not
are
gonna
the
say that
fastest.
Yuki Tsunoda has made the error of coming in for a pit stop as well. Absolutely classic Yuki. Good stuff. Well played. Proud of you, buddy. Bottas is just kind of trying to find a way through. Ocon is absolutely lost. We've been on a lap and Ocon's 2 seconds back. Hamilton is gone. We're not going to screw this one up, guys. I promise it can only be driver error that gets this one wrong and stops it being a 1-2. And Valtteri, you've got to think, is going to find a move at some stage on Sainz. Sainz is on fresh tyres as well, so that's, you know, a concern, but I'm not calling it a big concern. We were in our window anyway, so coming in shouldn't have harmed our strategy or our time at all. Bottas going to go put his foot down now, press the overtake button if you don't mind, buddy. He didn't even bother, didn't need to, probably did need to. He's going to have a press of the overtake button there, try and get himself in between Ocon and Sainz. It's a bit of a close one, but we should get through. We should be able to get through and hold on, you'd like to think, before the end of the lap. Because DRS is about to happen as well, and you don't want to be next to us when that does. Ocon's come in for a pit stop, absolutely bottled it. And now we're free, clear and gone. It's Bottas and Sainz for P2. Is now the race that's going to happen. It's all going to be about who is in front
No overtake.
when we get to the DRS zones, which hopefully actually won't be us, because I don't know if our straight line pace is as
Valtteri,
good as
good job,
Ferrari's
good job.
DRS pace. But we'll be okay for now. We're side by side, so it's a hell of a battle. These guys have been side by side for almost 2 laps now, and they're showing absolutely no signs of letting up. This could go on until at least the next set of pit stops. Bottas nose in front again, looking really good. And as we go down the hill, finally Bottas puts himself ahead. But I think maybe Sainz has played a little bit of a blinder here, because we're about to go through a DRS activation point. And I think Carlos Sainz might actually cheekily come back at us if Bottas isn't careful. He's got the DRS open, he's going to get himself up close, but back through this final sector when things really get interesting, because we need to start building up a gap, and our aero should be slightly better than Ferrari's. Tyres are getting a little warm. Tyres being warm has been a bit of a theme so far. not a theme I like. Bottas is catching up with Lewis, which I'm not a fan of, quite frankly. He's done well, less than half the race distance to go from last to second. Very much in contention. Sainz will try and find a way through, but this could be a battle for second that goes on right till the end of the race. I don't really want time-wise to have to follow it. I do racing fan-wise. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see how this goes. I want to see how the boys pull this one together, because Valtteri has the fight of his life on his hand right now. I'm tempted to say deploy, see if you can pull out a gap before we get to the DRS zone, because if he doesn't, then I think we're going to be in trouble. I am wary of doing it too long, because he will start to close the gap to Lewis if I push too hard. But I do need him to push away from Carlos Sainz a little bit if he can. We've got to 7/10. I mean, it's not great, it's not perfect, but as long as Sainz doesn't pull up the gap too much, it should be enough. Let's keep pushing until we fully drain the battery, and then we'll go back to neutral and start reharvesting if we can. I think we're going to be okay with that. I think we should get it to over a second before the next DRS zone. Looks like we will do. And at that point, on pure pace alone, we are laughing. Let's go over the shoulder, see what Sainz is doing on DRS. It looks like maybe he just got DRS. Really unlucky, but we're on a race to the finish now, I think. I think it's going to be hard for Sainz to fully keep up. Let's just go full speed ahead, see what happens here. That gap is going to increase. I've just got a feeling. Sector 1, yellow flag. I'm not sure what for or who for. Verstappen up into the 17th. Sainz had a lock-up, and we're absolutely laughing now. We are laughing. We are just off in the distance now. Problem solved. Game over. That's the race, boys. Let's put Lewis onto a balanced fuel setting to get him to the end. Bottas, I think we will let get himself down to bingo fuel as well, because honestly it's just gapping, and if we can get them in a DRS with each other, actually not the worst thing for us in terms of pulling that gap on Carlos Sainz, getting ourselves some free pit stops, which would be very nice. I'm going to keep an eye on the fuel just so I know what's going on with that, so I know things aren't getting too hairy, and that looks pretty good. Okay, we are looking good. Guan Yu Shou's had a spin, if that brings up the safety car. I'm going to use some language. Guan Yu Shou, how do you bin it on that? I understand binning it on the corner afterwards. Binning it on that corner when the car shouldn't be that unsettled is a little bit embarrassing for all of us to watch. But hey ho, we're away, we're good, we're gone. I want to look at the tyre temps before I go quick zoom, because that's going to be interesting. I think actually I might bring the tyre temps down just a touch, just do a touch of light on the tyres, because I can't imagine Lewis is having the best time of tyre temps either. He's not. We'll get them back in the good window, which should let us build up a little bit of speed over everything else going. Obviously, if we need to keep going a bit harder later on, we can do. But the further we take these tyres into the race, actually the better we're going to be. In fact, I didn't look to see what Max was doing. Max has gone to another set of mediums, which tells me his plan was to stop him all along, and now his decision to pit at the end of the safety car becomes even more unfathomable, quite frankly. The gap to Carlos Sainz is staying pretty steady, which is good, and we are just going to carry on, really. We'll probably bang in a couple of hot laps at the end of this rate, just because we can, just because we have the gap to bang in a couple of hot laps. I think we'll probably do it towards the end of the race, because we've got to keep the tyre temps down. Let's have a little look at the tyre temps now. We've got a pit window open. We're actually in a good window. We're nice. We're nice on tyres now. I think I'm going to keep at it a little while longer. I'm probably going to ignore this pit window just a touch, because I don't know if we need to dive in really right now. We're good on tyres. We're going to be good for a while on tyres, possibly to the end, in fact, on these tyres, such is the level of wear we're getting whilst keeping the heat out of the tyres. So we're just going to chill, really, relax a bit. Carlos will catch up a touch while he's trying to push, but that's fine because I will tell Lewis to give a big push. I'll tell Valtteri to give a big push as well. We'll call that a happy day, watch the gap build back up, and frankly I'm sort of just waiting for a safety car to determine whether or not I'm actually going to come into the pits, because I do think these tyres at this rate will make it fairly close to the end. Sainz is coming for freshies, which is nice, but it's also going to give a gap that he doesn't want to give, because now I do in fact have a free pit stop, and it's not really the one. Giving me a free pit stop right now is sort of a huge error. Sure, Max is involved, but I know Max is about to make another pit stop as well. I don't think Max will conserve his tyres to the end. So, yeah, we'll see. Like I said, there's no huge rush, is sort of the cliff notes. But Leclerc is in now as well. That's gravy, really. Had a crash on tracks, sector 1. If this turns out to be a safety car, we'll come in, get on the soft boots, and laugh all the way to the bank, quite frankly.
There's been a crash.
Schumacher crashed on turn 4. Let's have a little look, just so we can see what's happening. Have a little
Now
nosy.
let's watch this. The Alfa
He's just
Romeo
going to
is
spin
involved in
out at
this
random, isn't he?
There's the crash.
Don't even know how you do that. Don't know how you pull that off. Right, Max is into the pits now as well. We are okay to do pretty much whatever we like at this point. We can do whatever we like at this point, and we should take a win. So
Valtteri, confirm
that's
we need some lift off.
fine for us. All good. And gravy, really. Let's just keep going, shall we? We're just going to keep going. That gap, if it gets to 25 seconds, the gap behind Bottas, we'll pull the guys in. But I don't know. I feel like we're okay. I feel like we're actually going to be okay for this one. Tyres wise, probably is going to be a bit marginal.
To lift off.
But again, I'm not stressing. We know we've got about a 25-second gap to Alonso we can worry about. Once we get into that situation we have to care, we'll care. I mean, it's coming fairly soon, I'll be honest, but I actually don't think if I stayed on these tyres to the end I would lose enough time per lap to worry about it. But either way, we're going to come in, we're going to put those softs on, get ourselves happy in a way. Let's have a look at the tyre percentages. That's a 90, that's a 91. That will take us quite nicely home, I think, at that point. And likewise with Valtteri, we'll do the same. We'll come in for a beautiful set of fresh boots. You've got those at 90 and those at 91, so that's the game there. And then we're going to push these tyres all the way to the stop, because I have a feeling we can probably push the tyres on the way out all the way to the stop as well. And if we can't, so be it. That's life. Let's let it go and see what happens, shall we? I think we're going to be good. Really, really good at this point, quite frankly, because probably still got enough in these tyres to actually build some gap to the cars behind if we need to. Probably still have enough in these tyres to build a gap to the end, and we'll be okay. But we're going to go through pit stop. Let's have a look, see what happens. Even if we can't behind Alonso, I'm not actually going to stress at this point, because Alonso should be easy picking. Sainz I'm slightly more worried about, but not massively. We were told it was a 24-second pit stop. We are going to pay attention to what we've been told. We're going to learn our lesson. Pit stop time 2.8. Good job. And Valtteri doesn't have to double stack really, or doesn't have to wait that long. I didn't wait at all, actually. I think it was probably perfectly timed. Don't think there's a replay mode to find out. But either way, we're out. Hamilton now happily in first. Bottas is going to look over his rear wing and see an Alonso appearing somewhere, or a Sainz appearing somewhere. Nope. Plenty of space. All good, all the way to the end. We can actually push these tyres all the way to the end. That's how stupidly far ahead we've got them. Excellent, let's just go for it, shall we?
We need more lift and coast.
In fact, let's do one more crazy thing. fact, we'll wait till Lewis crosses the line, and we're going to go full deploy. Bang for a couple of hot laps, just while we're on the best possible tyre setting. And we'll be okay. In fact, let's drop right back. We'll do a little conserve. I am doing this for a reason, I promise. Because the second we cross the line, we're going to try and cool our tyres down out of the window. Maybe even...
So we need to back off.
Maybe even give Sainz a little tease, give him a little sniff at us before we truly go for it. Make him think there is something there for him. There isn't going to be anything there for him. It's all an illusion, but I do want to bang in at some full-on fastest laps as quick as I can, and then we'll roll it through to the end. I just want to trade fast stuff, take it comprehensively away from Max, because we should be able to achieve that with what we're doing right now. And yeah, just go for it. Just go for it is the plan. Just let it all go, let it all hang out, let Max see what he can do, trade some fastest laps with our two teammates, and crack on with it, really, because there's really nothing else for us to do to keep this easy victory entertaining. I've called it an easy victory now. Someone is going to crash out. Right, Lewis, you are coming onto the home straight, so we're going to do a 1 or 2 lap bang out of some laps. Basically, until he runs out of tyres, we're going to be doing full everything on everything.
Push.
And Valtteri, same opportunity. Go out there, full bang in the laps, bud. Let's see what you've got. And then we'll play it sensibly until the end. Make sure we save some fuel, but we'll try and steal away a fastest lap. I feel like we've probably got an easy fastest lap on here. To be honest, we should have an easy fastest lap on here. I swear, if one of my drivers bins it now as karmic punishment for me getting too cocky, I'll be so mad. But we're looking okay. First timing screen, Hamilton gets green, Bottas goes green. We're going to need a purple sector in there somewhere, otherwise I'm going to have big questions. But for now, we're okay, we're doing fine. We are not pulling out a gap on sight, it's got to be said, but we're doing okay. Hamilton now is going to come through for another sector, should be popping up now. We should get another sector time. Where are we going to look for this one? Purple for Lewis. That's what we like to hear. He's building a gap on Bottas, so here initially Bottas went green. Lewis should take the fastest lap of the race here quite handily, and we'll see where that stacks up with what Max is doing, because we can always hold off for a little while. If we need to bang in for one at the end, we'll do it on the lowest possible fuel and really ruin his day. Lewis crosses the line and fastest lap, happy days.
You are the fastest. 2
purple sectors. Let's drop ourselves back down to a more sensible setting. Valtteri didn't quite make it come in, but you know, that's okay, that's fine. We'll go to everything being standard.
Lift off to avoid instability.
Sorry, light and standard for Bottas. We're fine. I actually realised what happened, that I wasn't pushing the battery for Valtteri. So, next time around, what we'll do is we'll give Valtteri a chance to have his fastest lap attempt, because I feel like I was mean by not fully allowing him to open up the taps. Probably should have done that. Give him a chance to chase a fastest lap. He is technically our lead driver on points, so he does deserve the opportunity to see what he can do. But
we need some lift off.
We're okay. We're okay right now, and we're clear of Alonso, which is honestly really what we're trying to achieve. Just be clear of Alonso, clear of Sainz, clear of the Red Bulls, and see where we go from here. So Valtteri about to get across the start finish line. Hamilton will lap Mick Schumacher fairly soon. Let's get ready to go for another fastest lap attempt. We'll use the safety car line as our guider, and there we go. Attack, push, and then legitimately deploy everything you've got, bud. Let's see, can Valtteri take some purple sectors away from Lewis? Probably should be able to, I'll be honest. He should be able to. Fastest lap will help him out a little bit, and we are looking pretty tasty, and then it's all just going to be on Valtteri to try and push his way up to Hamilton. In fact, I do kind of want to push him to make it a fair fight, give them a one-on-one battle for the title or for the race win. But also, I don't want to mess up what Valtteri is doing. I don't want anyone to crash. Don't want to screw up the 1-2. It is the constructors we care about. As much as it'd be nice to have Valtteri Bottas as a world champion, we do need to be focused more on what we can do with just getting results for the team in the bag. Bottas is flying fin in action. Let's see what we get. Second sector time. Still green. Still green. It's not a purple one, Valtteri. I gave you a golden opportunity to bang in a lap, and you haven't done it. I'm going to give you another opportunity to bang in a lap, purely because I want you to at least make a decent show of it. That's what we're really looking for. Is he going to make it happen across the line for the fastest lap, or at least